And good morning. This is your Sensei Al Bob on Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. We're here to inform, but mostly entertain. This is an entertainment for your consciousness. Realizing that everything that you experience is an illusion of Satan, right? And that we're here to learn, what love's co-creation is about. We're here to serve love's co-creation. And love's co-creation, I don't like to use the word God or Lord or Jesus because those have been, conflated, confluted, misrepresented, And whereas love is a truth that is unmalleable, right? And that's I always try to, parse, the words we use. And I really appreciate all of the links that you send me, and I go look at them, and I find them quite just like I try. What am I? What is your Sensei Al Bob? Your Sensei Al Bob is a griot. What is a griot? It's a person who tells a story that is there to percolate those, as Perot would say, those little gray cells, right? And the gray cells are just the squirrel in the cage of your Rolodex here, right? And the real thing I'm trying to percolate is here in your heart, which is your CPU, Central Processing Unit. And I'm a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropologic alchemist, right? Shaman, what's that? That's the person who puts things in a frame, a spiritual frame, right? Not held to any dogma, not held to any religious point of view, but the dynamic, the frame is all our relations, everyone in everywhere and everything. Every furry, every warm-blooded, every cold-blooded, every scaly, every feathered, all our relations, all the insects, everybody. We're all connected in the great link, right? And some of those groups have collective consciousnesses. Some have individual free wills. And that's, the creatures that represent the mud puppet, ugly bag of water avatars, our bodies are just our avatar. They are not who we are, right? And the consciousness is held within a dynamic of our free will. And our free will is, love's co-creation created our free will so we could freely co-create with love, not be held by the structure of the, hegemony of heaven. And that's what Lucifer was in charge of. And then when we were created, Lucifer lost its collective shit in that it was a petulant child. And it didn't have per se a free will, but it did have an ego. And that ego exploded and destroyed or crushed or cracked heaven's hegemony. And that was the Big Bang. That was the Big Bang that caused the creation of this universe. And this universe is an illusion, not just our planet, but the whole frigging universe. And in our universe, there are more planets with sentient life on it, than there are grains of sand on this planet, right? And has constantly been a conflict in this universe between, what is conceived as good and what is conceived as bad. And in reality, it's irrelevant, What is important is the choice that we take, And our lives were not meant to be, oh, really comfortable, oh, no. Struggle is part of this universe of illusion. It's about struggle. It's about our stepping up and that's what alchemy is. Alchemy is turning base metals into gold. The gold is our consciousness of free will, right? It's not, coins in the bank. No, and, today, if you try to change lead into gold, you'd be losing money because lead's almost, if not more expensive than gold. So the bottom line is you have to keep your mind open to everything. You have to look at every piece of information. You have to have not any one little box that you put yourself in, and that's what education is all about. Our institutionalized education is about mind control. Our institutional fast food is about controlling our bodies and our mind through, the chemicals that are injected when we eat that. And all the food that you purchase in a supermarket, whether it says organic or not, is there to control you. It's energetically, right? So, with that intent, I want to bring to your attention a number of websites and individuals. There's a guy named Dr. Gene Kim. He's a pastor, a lecturer on theology, and he's quite good. You should go take a look at his perspective. Again, just don't hold it as like, oh, I believe this guy. No, it's like to marinate your thought process, right? And he's definitely a Christian. He's definitely coming from the Bible, but that's okay because he's definitely who he is. He's not representing any, you know, cabal. Now, we're all here in our avatars, and at any point of the day, our consciousness, lulls into unconsciousness and we become a sock puppet, We are just a moron, right? And that's a true good sense of the word moron because people who are controlled by the strings, they are a mud puppet putz, right? Now these words are important. I'm going to be using all these words, and they're almost technical terms. So you guys need to start keeping a little, just like I do. I have these nice little composition books, and I have hundreds of these things that I write down stuff in because your Sensei Al Bob's mind is like cottage cheese. There's some good little kernels, but a lot of space. So when I am conscious, when I am co-creating with love's co-creation, I can be, a good keeping my eye on the ball. But a good 20% of the time, unless I am in state, meaning breathing, and 20% in, I'm taking, 30% out, I'm kind of, your basic moron, And so say we. Next person is a guy named David Wilcox, and Dave is all right. Again, you have to realize you don't look at the individual per se. You listen to the information they have and parse it through your heart. And that's what we're talking about here. When you are a derivative of fear, you can't even park on your driveway, Fear keeps you restricted. Fear keeps you incarcerated. Fear keeps you in the box, right? And you don't want to go in the box until they put you on the ground, There's no sense in being dead to the world and just being, that's, the zombie, that's the zombie, And we got a lot of zombies, just look at most legislators, they're the best money can buy. Just go to Walmart's, go to any of the big box stores, Most people are zombies. Hey, they're the last ride. Yep, I'm still here, every morning and every evening. Ink. Yep, words will never speak the absolute, but the mouth of perfection. Exactly, Amundo, and that's why I keep saying, good thoughts, good action, good words, good actions, good deeds, good outcomes. And we have to serve love's co-creation, not any, banker, any club, any political this or that, any of the above. And we have to listen to everything and parse it through our free will. That is our connection to love's co-creation, is our free will. And our free will is not our ego, it's not a petulant child. Our free will is when we serve love's co-creation, when we serve all our relations' ability to step up to their ascension into love's co-creation. That's what it's about, because when that occurs, that's when this bubble of Luciferian illusion will pop. I mean, all of that we are watching, all that we think we fear, is an illusion. It's just like my grandmother took me to see the movie Forbidden Planet, and you know sat me up in the front row, and so I could see that that movie was shot in 70 millimeter, and they etched the animation of the monster on each frame of the movie. So if you sat 10 seats behind where I was and all the way to the back, that monster looked really real. But right there where the screen was like right on my face, the imaginary mirror, it's like, it's just a scratch on the frame. And everything we fear is just a scratch on the frame, because Lucifer, the real thing about Lucifer is that he's a grand illusionist. He's the grand magician. That's why magic is like such a sock puppet. Mysticism, all of those things are illusions. And you don't want to be, you know, deluded. you know, you want to have your heart and your life and your existence and your consciousness full of love's free will. That's what it's about. I'm talking with passion. Yep, passion. I'm not yelling. I'm talking with passion. Yep, and that passion has to be informed, and the thing that we all need is to have the authority of love's intention in our heart. And we can't, that's where we're at. Fear, no. God is love. Yep. Never mind loser, satanic comparison, nothing to do with the soul. Exactly, Inc. Yep. All Lucifer is an illusion. It's a cartoon, right? And all we have to do is not be fearful. All we have to do is have love's co-creation aura. Hello, Al Cadre. I thought a question you might find interesting. What is your opinion on subliminal messaging that is merely a marketing purpose for evil cabal? Yep. I would agree on all the above. My first realization of that experience was the day I'm going to have to unearth this photo. I told you the story about my dog Dandy, who was my best friend for 30 years, and still is when I go visit him in Shambhala. I mean, there are animals there too, not just people. And anyway, so I was a little sick kid, and the day that Kennedy got shot, it was a beautiful day. It was one of those warmish, it was kind of getting towards winter, and it had been cold and rainy and sleety. And then there was this beautiful day. And my mom, she ran hospitals in the 20s and 30s. And you could, I don't feel good, go to school. Because she didn't want you around. But this one day, I wasn't wasn't really sick, but I had kind of gotten over pneumonia a week or so ago. And I'd been to school, and I was a little lackluster. And she goes, why don't you just stay home? We'll have a good time. My mom never, not often did we just have a good time. And we did. It was a beautiful day. I was out in the backyard with my dog, and there was this big rock in the back. And we had a big, and this house had a big backyard, about 10 acres. And, about three of them was the lawn, and the rest was kind of overgrown and had trees, and it wasn't quite a forest, but, so, and I had little forts and places to hang out. And I was sitting on a rock, and my dog was next to me. And my mother had seen me, and she came out and she took pictures of me, which she never did, right? And my father was the photographer, and then he handed me the camera at 10, and I became the photographer. Anyway, so we sat out there in the sun. It was really nice, and we sat there for a good hour and a half, and just not saying much, just enjoying, just like I'm sitting in the sun right now. And I love this kitchen here because, as you can see, there's these big windows that look out onto the hill, the beautiful hill, and you can share that hill and still sit inside, and you can enjoy the sun on you. And that's what life is about, right? So I'm sitting on the rock and with my dog, and he's like sitting next to me being proud because I'm his boy. And my mom comes out and takes pictures of us and then kind of sits with us for a while. And then we come in, right? And she's made some soup and she baked some bread. So we come in and the smell is really amazing. And she never watched TV. She wasn't a big TV person. And she wasn't even a radio person. She didn't have the media on all the time. And for some reason, she switched the radio on, and they're talking about, the president has been shot in Dallas, Texas. And we turn on the TV. And as soon as we turn on the TV, the picture comes from that little dot onto the screen. And we see Walter Cronkite, take his glasses off. And he goes, 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. the president has died and take. And it cuts, straight to, actually the TV came on and there was just the beginning of a commercial, and then first time I ever saw this, it said breaking news. And then we saw Walter Cronkite cry on TV, on cue. And then it cut right back to this was a breaking news moment, and went to a Folgers coffee commercial. And what they had was the pendulum of a clock going. And don't you feel tired? Don't you feel asleep? Don't you just want to go unconscious? But you can't! You need to be awake! You gotta go! Here, drink Folgers coffee! Right? And it was like such a mind control thing. My mother looked at me and she goes, my God. And she turned it off and she goes, this is why I don't want you to watch television. She doesn't say anything about the assassination of the president. She's talking about the commercial. and that's what it has. There's a thing called the Tavistock Institute. And they're the people who really scientifically manufactured this whole thing. Freud's nephew was one of the people on it, and a whole bunch of luminary psychologists, paranormal people, physicists were part of that. And to cut to the chase on that one, you should go look at Donald Trump's uncle. He was a physicist. He was a high energy physicist. He was a guy who, the minute Nikola Tesla died in the New Yorker hotel, the FBI and Donald Trump's uncle, I think his first name was John, Donald Trump's father's brother, was the scientist that went in and collected all of Tesla's stuff and brought it back to his lab in Brookhaven. And Brookhaven is a mind-screwing, all of Eastern Long Island is one gigantic spider's nest of tunnels and underground facilities, part of the Montauk Project is part of that. And they were into time travel and energies and dimensional stuff and satanic stuff and just so that's what I would say. Go look at, right? And let's see what else you guys think. Hey, Twitchy. Both depending on the source of info. Right. All information is intelligence, right? It's CCC, command, control, and communications. And we just have to look at it all and parse it out to what it is. Yeah. 89. All watch advertisements display the time 10:10. This seems to imitate a similar face, a smiley face, but other subliminals are not so obvious. Right. We are totally. I mean, the movie They Live. When the guy puts on the good morning, afternoon, cadre. When the guy Ruddy Piper puts on the sunglasses and he can see, the veil is lifted. Well, I'm doing pretty good. My battery's about, I got about 10 minutes left of this conversation. And then I have to, charge up the phone. So, everything is good. We're, just drop the phone. Anyway, able to cook. Yeah, I'm cooking away. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. This thing is supposed to not be on high. Thanks for reminding me. I almost barbecued this thing. This is what I'm making for John. A nice vegetarian tofu, spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, onions, mushrooms, garlic, tarragon. Thanks for reminding me. I would have burnt the heck out of this. It's a problem with electric. You really can't. You got to keep your eye on the ball here. With extra meat. No, he didn't want meat anymore. He wanted the extra meat. Now he doesn't want meat no more. So this is, vegetarian kind of thing. Now this over here, that's cabbage and a little meat. So he's got his choice. And that's kind of spicy. And oops. And that has this. This thing is more turmeric and that level of cinnamon, that kind of stuff. It's also good for me for my little diabetes. Anyway, that's part of the cooking show. There it is. As we fly over it, let's not drop the phone into the food. Anyway, so go take a look at Dr. Gene Kim, David Wilcox, and anything to deal with Trump's uncle and Nikola Tesla. These were things that were dropped on my stream and put on my again, any links you can send to my the dude awake 42 at Gmail is most appreciated. And anytime you want to, a lot of you write me and talk to me on the Gmail, which is, I really like that. It's more personal. It's, not just the whole of the World Wide Web. So if you ever want to ask me something that is more personal and not as everybody. Twitchy. Yep. Okay, so like I said, I'm low on battery here, so I just wanted to touch base with you guys, and so I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. And if any of you guys go look at any of that kind of information, because David Wilcox is really going on about how the cabal is falling, crushing, falling. It's my sense of it is they're just rebranding because you kind of go into this, you go from, okay, we're this and now we're this, is kind of what the Roman Empire did when they rebranded and became the Catholic Church, right? One day they were all pagan businessmen, and then they became popes and bishops and cardinals. So, the one thing that I'm a firm believer, you got to look at everything, even the snakes. You just don't you just don't let it bite you. Though, if it does and doesn't kill you, it makes you kind of stronger. I've been bitten by, poisonous snakes, and I'm still here. Research, I never take anything you say with offense. I only take it with love. And I listen to everything you say, and I listen to everything that everyone says. That's why we're the cadre. I'm just your Sensei Al Bob. I'm not your So I'm just saying, take a look at what these morons are saying. I'm not saying, oh, drink the Kool-Aid, because you gotta know what's going on, right, and what's coming down. So you don't react, so you can get into your driveway, and because if you don't see what's coming down, if you don't listen to everybody, then you're susceptible to fear. And that was what this morning's, oh, look at that, 27 minutes and 27 seconds. What was the other thing I was thinking about? Oh, it has escaped my mind. But, oh yes, tonight's visualization, I am going to, so CCC, Command, Control, and Communications, right? So we're going to remote view. We've been going to all of these lands, and that's basically remote viewing, especially when we do it from the tree of knowledge, right? Because when we go through the front door, we're going through the front door, and you are susceptible to that land. But if you go through the tree of knowledge, you are basically you are remote viewing. So we're going to have a class in remote viewing, and we're going to go remote view the remote viewers, right? Which should be interesting. Anyway, so my battery's about dead, give or take, and I'm gonna see you later.